Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us again for another episode of the Church Communications Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Gerald Girardier, and with me, as always, is the one, the only Katie Allred. Today,
Hi.
hey, Katie. Today, we want to let you know that we're partnering with National Back to Church Sunday and Outreach to offer you some free resources to kickstart your fall outreach. Churches who participated last year experienced a 25% increase in attendance for Back to Church Sunday, and 87% said they had a special day motivated by their members to invite their friends and family. If you participate in this, you'll get 500 free Engager invitations mailed to you. That includes shipping, plus tons of free extras and digital download packages. Visit churchcommunications.com/back-to-church. That's churchcommunications.com/back-to-church to get signed up now while supplies last. There we go.
Yeah.
Our wonderful friends over at Outreach. Katie, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I said when I shared it to the group, I was like, we have a special announcement at the end, so I should probably maybe write that in here to the plan.
Oh gosh, that's a teaser.
Yeah, right. Like, haha, stay tuned because you never know what we're gonna throw at you.
I lost your Katie. I just lost your audio.
You lost my audio.
Oh, you know what? Sorry, my wife just tried to FaceTime me during the podcast. That's right.
I just lost your audio completely.
Sorry about that, folks. She's on a mission trip. Yes, I'm sorry. You were saying, backing up, you were saying regarding, I asked you how you were doing, and you said,
I'm doing great. That's how I'm doing, girl. I am busy and packing my entire life up so I can move.
You are.
And it's happening soon, which is terrifying and thrilling all at the same time.
I can imagine.
And yeah, it's just I'm having a lot of stress dreams about teaching and just not knowing what to say. I don't know. I got nothing, guys. You can go home now.
Oh my gosh. Or you just always go 1 second, you turn around and say, let me Google that for you. Or you turn around and say, let me ask my Facebook group about that.
Yeah, right. Let me just ask everybody. It's fine. It's gonna be fine. Nah, I mean, I already know more than they do, no matter what. So it's gonna be fine.
So there you go. That's the attitude. You know more than they do. You're gonna be fine.
It's gonna be fine. So yeah, okay. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay. Good for you.
If you want to send your kids to get a good Christian education with Katie Allred, you can.
That's the name of our new webinar, Christian Education with Katie Allred. Send your kids to us.
Send your kids. Come on. I mean, I want to hear me. I do. I want to. Yeah. So that's what I did.
Of course you do. Yeah. There we go. Well, Katie, we got some news stories this week. Let's dive into them. The first one is from our friends over at Facebook.
Friends over at Facebook. Sorry.
That's right. They now get their own theme song because we talk about them.
Everyone gets a theme song in my life.
Oh, you're kind of like, it's Kenneth from 30 Rock, where everybody, they show what's inside of his mind and everybody's a Muppet. Basically, they're all puppets. He just imagines he's like in a giant thing of Sesame Street, if you will.
I think I was born at the wrong time. I think I would be an excellent jingle maker. And I just wish that there was still a time where I could just make jingles.
Yes, I agree. I think you're missing. I think you missed your calling. And you know what I think? I think you could have done a ministry called Jingles for Jesus, and you easily could have told churches, "I will make your jingles for you."
I could have made jingles for churches all over. Maybe churches that could be the next thing. That could be the next big thing. Does your church have a jingle? If they don't, then how are they still in people's heads all the time? It's brilliant marketing.
Think about this. We now have baptism troughs.
Baptismtroughs.com. Jinglesforjesus.com. Oh my gosh. Don't tell everybody. We got to go buy it.
Oh, I'm doing it right now as we're doing the podcast.
All right, good.
I'm going to talk about the article, and I'm going to buy this.
Pieces to Jingles for Jesus. This is really what happens to us all the time. Oh my gosh, we got to put a Soundstripe affiliate link on there and just be I don't know, download some music. Here you go.
There you go. So, Katie, what's going? Oh, sorry, we can't buy jinglesforjesus.com because Somebody owns it for $2,200. So
Oh, I'm
anyway,
not
sorry.
buying that for $2,200. You can forget it.
No,
I was gonna buy it for
forget.
12.
No, go ahead. Yeah. So what's going over the friends over Facebook?
Okay, so Facebook, they just launched this new thing where you can create ads from your mobile device using new creative tools in the Ad Manager's app. So previously, if you had used the Ad Manager's app, it was really
Right.
kind of useless.
Yes.
You could look at insights about the ads, and
Yep.
that was basically it. It was kind of annoying. And now, though, you basically have like a Canva type thing in the ad manager. So you can create, like, you can take like an image, put text over it, crop the image. They have templates. They have shapes and stickers and logos, like where you can put your logo over it, color filters. I mean, they are trying to be like the Canva of making Facebook ads, which is great. I think they really needed a tool like that, especially since they put so many like new regulations on how much text you can put. I think they're trying to make it where it's just super simple
I agree.
for the user. So that it looks great. I'm actually really pleased with it.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think one of the things that, like, when I look at this thing, I look at it and go, okay, out of the gate, I know I can easily set up an ad real quick. Because the other I imagine one of the other advantages of this is now that they give you template, you don't have to deal with that. I say stupid. The whole like submitting an ad getting rejected because too much text. Like, you have got too much text. If I have their template, I kind of by default know what the policy is.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, that's a huge win. And I think this is a huge win for anybody who's really nervous about doing ads.
Yeah, for sure.
Knowing that you've got a template, you makes it a whole lot more like, okay, I can dip my toes in this and not feel like I am gonna screw it up, which I think a lot of us do. And I mean, there you go.
We all screw up our Facebook ads. Let's just be honest here.
I've screwed up many of Facebook ads. Yes, I have. All right, on to story number 2. Some of us in our group use a thing called Slack. Some of us use Microsoft Teams, some use GroupMe, but Slack, I think, is I would say probably the most popular tool when it comes to group messaging in our group, in our Facebook group, when people talk about what they use in the office. And Slack has recently acquired something called Missions. And what Missions does, it lets you automate tasks inside of chat. So one of the really cool things you could do if you have your entire church set up on on Slack, is that you can basically build templates using Missions. And so if somebody asks you a question, you can turn around and hit a button and turn that into a form and then kind of create a communications request inside of Slack. And so you can do a whole bunch of like really automated type of little things when people send you messages that can make your workflows go a whole lot faster. So the example they give you is very similar to a communications request. It's somebody asks you a question.
It's an onboarding.
Yeah, onboarding, you hit a button and then boom, 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 all of a sudden this workflow happens. And so I know a friend of mine who's got a church. It's a pretty good sized staff church, and their entire staff is on Slack. They don't even practically use email amongst each other. And so a tool like this can make things a whole lot easier. So if you've not explored Slack for your community interview.
I lost Daryl. This is the story of my life. Now.
Okay, I'm back.
Daryl's back. Did you hear me saying it's just the Katie podcast?
It's just the Katie show. And I was like, oh.
Yes. Daryl is really going on a good point about Slack. Slack is great. You should try it.
Slack is great. You should try it. Let's just leave it at that.
Okay, great.
There we go. On to story number 3.
What are the best apps to post on social media in 2018? I am so intrigued. These things change often. And honestly, even though this is like a researched blog post, you should always just check your own insights and see what's best for your audience specifically. Because Facebook will tell you there's ways to find out on Twitter, there's ways to find out on Instagram. So I would do that first. But these are all just like nice, like standards perhaps, but so their first part, it says for Facebook to post Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and from high noon until 4 in the afternoon. And so what were you gonna say?
Yeah, I was gonna say like I could see this in the sense that I definitely think an optimal time to do it. I always view optimal times as three in my mind. I've always thought three optimal times when people first wake up,
Mm-hmm.
um, right during or after lunch when people are kind of slacking off from work, and
Mm-hmm.
then at night when they get home post dinner. And some reason in my mind that's when people have their that's when I think they're most mentally down and they're not quote unquote on. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah. I'm wondering about the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday thing. I mean, I guess
Yeah.
obviously it's content leading up to the weekend where people are just scrolling
Yeah.
and not posting so much. Maybe. Well, I don't know. I think I post more on the weekends than I do during the week. But yeah, I think I don't know. For the church, I feel like we get, and we've talked about this before, we get
Yeah.
more traction on like Monday.
That's
But
true. We do.
creating content on Monday is hard from Sunday. Like the turnaround is just hard
Yeah,
because
this is
we like to get a
really hard.
transcript and then cut the clips and then post the clips. And so the fastest way we found is for just to get the special music and just to post the special music first thing,
Yeah.
just because that's the easiest. Like there's no having to decide what's a great quote. And then we go and turn around, and by Wednesday we have some good stuff. And we post that Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and
Yeah,
so
I think
and it's been working for us. I think.
I think one of the issues we run into, which I think a lot of people here in our group probably run into, is that you'd like to work a full day on Sunday. In other words, if you could work Sunday morning at the actual worship service and then afternoon process all the content from that morning and then kick it out ready for Monday morning, that would be optimal. The problem is now all of a sudden you worked a full day on Sunday, which means you can't work on Friday. And we do know that a lot of ministries last minute communications requests come in at like Friday, like at 3 p.m. I'm not naming any ministries, but we all know, that's when they do. So that's one of the frictions that we have in that.
Yeah, I agree.
And so they say Facebook. So
then,
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
right? Wednesday, Thursday, Friday for Facebook, and then from noon to 4, the second best time is 9 a.m., which is surprising. We for the longest time only posted at night.
Yeah.
Or really early morning. And honestly, though, towards probably the last 6 months, I just became a noon poster. Like I would just post in the afternoon almost always, not because I had like a real great like theory behind it, but just because it was like easier. Instead of scheduling, I just post it, and it was doing better. And so I was like, okay, well maybe it doesn't like super even matter, to be honest with you. But then also, like, because if the content's good, I think it's just going to play well. Like, that's just that.
I agree.
It doesn't matter when you post it. But at the same time, I think maybe the afternoon, it has become a better time. Okay, so Instagram, we have 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. and 2 a.m.
I totally believe this.
Yeah, and so the best days are Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, not Tuesday. So basically Monday through Friday, but no Tuesday, not weekends.
I totally think that 2 a.m.
2 a.m.
is completely true given the demographic.
It says everyone is posting to Instagram during the day, so your content has a lower chance of standing out from the crowd. If you catch your competitor sleeping, your Instagram posts will rack up engagement.
And then for be at the top of the user feed by the morning.
Right. Which I think is actually probably a pretty good ploy.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that there is I just think that there's a large, that when you think about the Instagram demographic, and I'm, that 18 to 24-year-old, and maybe now it's even skewing a little higher up.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of those people are because you're about to be a college professor.
You're young. You're a college professor.
You're a college professor. But those kids are up towards all hours, studying or doing whatever.
They are. I will not be, but they will be.
They're staying up late reading scripture, praying.
Yeah, hey, they actually are. That's like the crazy part. So when I went to the University of Mobile, I was like, who are these children? Because I was not raised this like way to, I don't know. Not that I wasn't raised in a Christian home or anything, because I was, but like these people were like I remember like they were like, let's all like meet at 10 p.m. at the creek, and we're just gonna like worship the Lord. I was like, what? And so like I went down to the creek, and I'm like, what is going on right now? I was like, this is definitely how I pictured my college years. Anyway, singing Kumbaya. Anyway, so let's go on to Twitter. So Twitter, it says is noon, 12 p.m. And it is Monday through Thursday. I believe that.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense.
Lunchtime scrolling.
Yeah, it's lunchtime, and I think because it's such a news heavy platform now. I mean, it really has become. It's just a news thing. I guess people going in and checking in like they would go to CNN or any of those other places. That's what it's wired to be now.
Okay, let me tell you. I think that LinkedIn here is the sleeper network. Like I think that it is a sleeping giant that is about to awaken.
I completely agree.
And so I've been like checking my LinkedIn a lot more now because I'm like, this stuff, like if you post content to LinkedIn, it gets a lot of engagement. It gets a lot of views pretty quickly. We've had actually the Brentwood Baptist page. I've like always cross-fed all the content over to it, and it's always done pretty well. We've just never really reported on it. And honestly, I'm like really glad that we've had this like long going relationship on our LinkedIn page for our church, because I think it just works really well for us. We have a bunch of corporate people. And so of course, why wouldn't they want to follow their church on LinkedIn? And LinkedIn now has this new video feature where like they start auto playing videos. It was so funny. I was on there today and I saw that Facebook had bought an ad on LinkedIn to talk about data privacy. Like they made a new short film on data privacy. I should try to find that short film. Have you seen that?
They sponsor one of the podcasts I listen to, and they were like, "Come watch our film on data privacy." I'm like,
who wants to do that? Nobody wants to watch a film on data privacy. I opened it and I was like, nah, I'm good.
No, we're good.
I mean, it's fine. I understand you're trying to make it more private. Great. So LinkedIn, the best time to post is from 5 to 6 p.m., which seems odd because that seems like the time when people are, going home. But then I guess if you have commuters who are on trains, I don't know, but that's not most of us. Like the majority of America aren't doing it. So I don't know. That seems odd to me, but okay. And then it says Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So like the middle of the week, LinkedIn.
Yeah. And I will tell you, I agree that I think LinkedIn continually, one of the things that one of the reasons why I look at LinkedIn as a long bet is I think people have started to see the long-term value of it in terms of the fact that as a platform, it doesn't have security issues. You don't have issues with really impersonators too much or, trolls, because it's tied to your resume. And I think since as more and more Generation Z and becomes part of the workforce, we're going to have, they're going to just naturally build that LinkedIn profile because they want a job. And so they want to have some sort of resume. In fact, I was interviewing somebody for a job this week, and I said, do you have a LinkedIn profile? And they said, I just created one today because they just started interviewing for jobs. So anyway, what the other one, what's not on here, Katie, is Pinterest.
Yeah, Pinterest isn't on this list, and you would think that there would be a good time to post for Pinterest. I know there are other articles that do talk about that, so maybe they don't talk about it because maybe they don't post to Pinterest, like this platform.
Maybe I don't know.
I don't know. That's good. And like, should you be using Pinterest for your church? We did that for a long time. We're still actually doing it. There's there's a lot of recipes running on IFTTT you'll find about.
Yes, there are. There are lots of recipes running.
So,
And Pinterest is one of the, see, Pinterest to me is like LinkedIn. To me, it's one of the ones that like, it's just done what it knows who it is. And so therefore, it doesn't get a lot of buzz, but like I use Pinterest all the time when I'm trying to create art direction for stuff. Like I deep dives on Pinterest when I'm trying to pull together stuff on how we're going to pull a sermon series together. So Pinterest is, I don't look at like a social network. I look at more like a Google for images, if you will, kind of thing.
For sure.
Yep. Alrighty. Our next story and our last story for tonight is Facebook Messenger bots. And this is if you will, think of it like a tutorial that's going to show you and how to, less than 30 minutes or less, set up your own Facebook Messenger bot using, I believe they're using Chat Fuel in this. So we've played with Messenger bots before, Katie. I know you can talk about our experience with that, but this is something I think that's fun. I think it's worth trying out. Basically, what they're doing is show you how to do it. It's setting up for free, how to use Chat Fuel, how do you set up a welcome message, default replies, and like all of, if a user says this, then reply with this. So a lot of really just super fun stuff to play with. And for me, I just think it's a fun thing to play with. I don't, we're not going to invest a tremendous amount of time in it, but I definitely think if you're thinking, you know what, I'm going to try something new and you want to kind of stretch your mental muscles, I think this is a great thing to do for a side project.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you play with one before, right?
Right. We set up one for the church for a while using Chat Fuel. The only caveat, the only thing that I didn't love about it was so impersonal, and I had a hard time still getting the notifications because of the chatbot like constantly replying back to the person. And so it almost seemed like I wouldn't get the notification saying you have a new message, you need to contact someone. And so that was kind of my only thing. And most of the time it would send a message. It would like still open up a window and try to talk to them. So I had like all these like new messages when really the person hadn't really engaged. And I'd have to be like, okay, actually there's a bunch of people who are in church communications, I think, going to look at our bot. And so I'd be like, guys, do you really need help, or are you just like looking at this thing?
Just play with it, testing it out. Yeah, that
right.
makes sense.
Yeah, and we had a lot of people who would just hit like every single button in it and like just be like, and I'd be like, do you need something? And they'd be like, no. Okay. So really, it felt like a very uneducated experience for the user, not for like us. Like, I'm sure it was fine. I just think it may take like another year before it really catches on mainstream for like the general public. I think it's great for marketing people who are used to using bots and talking with a bot. But for a church, it's almost a little harder because I feel like you lose that human aspect of it.
No, that makes a lot of sense. It does.
So
it really does.
That's how I feel about bots today.
Yes. All righty. Let's get to our favorite section, which is lifting things up. Katie, is there something you want to lift up this week?
Yes. So I'm in the middle of this book called Everybody Lies. Did I talk about this last week?
No, you didn't.
Okay. So far, I love this book. It has a lot of shady information in it, but it's so useful and also just like eye-opening.
Yeah.
I think I say it's shady because there's just so much that you don't know about people. And the internet can reveal that about a large group of people without having to ask. And that is shady a little bit.
So so unpack what you mean by that.
What I mean by that, yeah. So essentially this book uses big data, which big data is like data that comes from Google search trends. It comes from Facebook search. It comes from Facebook posts. It comes from sentimentality, which you can pull that data from Twitter, like a bunch of tweets, whether they're positive or negative. And so this book kind of goes into specific patterns in data to prove whether something happened, like whether what people are saying is actually happening or not.
Oh, I got it. Okay.
And so what's really been I mean, there's a lot of stuff. There's like, there's chapters on just various different things. And I mean, there is a whole chapter on sex, which is interesting. But then because like, it just tells you stuff that you would like not ever like, be like, okay, America is screwed up for sure.
Yeah.
And then, but two, like, there's just a lot of data that tells you that if you tell a group of people not to do one thing, they'll go out and do that one thing. Like Obama made a speech, I think maybe back in 2009, he made a speech that said, please, we've got to like get this Islamophobia down, and we need to be united, and
Right.
we're a country that's free of, where we offer freedom of religion. And anyways, apparently everybody, the journalist and everybody, said that was a brilliant speech. Like, he did an amazing job. They felt,
Yeah.
and the government felt that he did a great job just calming the atmosphere. But what Google search trends said was that immediately after that speech happened, Islamophobia went up by a ton, because people were like searching, like, why are Muslims so evil? And then how can you, like, why do I so much? And and buying stuff that was like, I hate Muslims. I don't know, It was just like, it set off a fire in the opposite direction of where they wanted it to go. That we would have never.
You there? You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. So it sounds similar to the other book, which Amazon recommends when you look at the Everybody Lies, which is Big Data. Have you read that one? The Big Data Revolution That Will Transform. Okay, because that one I think talks about like when the Center for Disease Control, if they know that people in a certain region are all Googling flu-like symptoms, then they know that's where the flu outbreak's going to be.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they talk about that too in this book.
Yeah. And and the other one they share is the story of the young lady who, and I don't know if they share this in Everybody Lies, but they share this in Big Data. It's the story of the young lady who goes to Target and she buys like these certain items. And then so Target, and
they know she's pregnant.
She knows she's pregnant because they, because the fact that she bought like a certain lotion and bought these like certain things in a certain pattern. And so her dad was really upset. And then later back, he calls back because I apologize. Because what happens is, folks, basically they give her a coupon, like one of those automated coupons that spits out with the receipt or something for a pregnancy test or something to that effect. I can't remember what it is, but something that would indicate that she was probably pregnant. And her dad was obviously upset. And then later he comes back and say, I apologize because she actually was pregnant, because all these little indicators in the big data said more than likely she probably is, she's this right now.
This is something else from that book. I'm going to just read this tiny little excerpt. Here. It says, consider, for example, the effects of weather on mood. You'd probably guess that people are more likely to feel more gloomy on a 10-degree day than on a 70-degree day, and that is correct. But what you might not guess is how big an impact this temperature difference can make. He looked at correlations between an area's Google searches for depression and a wide range of factors, including economic conditions, education levels, and church attendance. And winter climates swamped all the rest. In winter months, in warm climates such as Honolulu, Hawaii, people have 40% lesser or 40% fewer depression searches than in cold climates such as Chicago, Illinois. So essentially, an optimistic read of this would say that the effectiveness of antidepressants would find that the most effective drugs decrease. So basically, a Chicago to Honolulu move would be at least twice as effective as medication.
Which, by the way, ties in with the thing that I'm going to lift up.
Okay, great.
It's called a book called Willpower Doesn't Work. It's by Ben Hardy. And the entire argument of the book is that willpower, for what we believe willpower, is a lie. And really, it's all about your environment that you set yourself up in. And so the idea is if you want to be healthy, if you want to be these things, then you should put yourself in those environments. So, like they're saying, if you want to not be depressed, move to Hawaii.
Right. At least the Google search would say that that's true.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah. I was very much like, what? Like, there's just like many times where you're just like reading it and you're like, that makes sense. But at the same time, totally it's just super interesting.
Yeah. The book I'm lifting up, as I just mentioned before, is Willpower, and it's Willpower Doesn't Work is the name of the book. It's by Ben Hardy, and the book basically outlines the argument like, hey, if you want some sort of change in your life, we tend to have this idea that is you just need X amount of willpower. And he walks you through the idea like, hey, willpower doesn't work the way you think it does. And rather, it's really about shaping around who you spend your time with, what you spend your time consuming, and the actual physical environment you put yourself in. And so he walks you through all these different scenarios. And this is basically his PhD research that he has done. And so he, for example, he would say it's not, you've heard before maybe that you are the culmination of the 5 people that you hang out with. And he even goes to say, you're not a culmination of the 5 people you hang out with. You're a culmination of the 5 people you hang out with and the 5 people that they hang out with. And so he talks about how your environment and what you experience that around you can really shape what you're looking for. So how do we apply that in the church communications sector? I would say this is that if you are, for me, career-wise, I'm thinking if I'm not seeing the results I want to see in our work, then we may need to change environment. I may need to kind of get out of a setting. We may need to try something new. We may need to expose ourselves to new people and new ideas. And so it's a good read. It's not a super long read, but I definitely think it's worth giving it a look.
Yeah, sounds good.
All righty, Katie, you tease everybody with a big announcement.
It's not a big announcement. I said small announcement. I think we have a small announcement. So we're going on a podcast break just for a couple of months while I make a transition. So during that transition time, we will be working hard to bring you a different format. So not just the news, but some more teaching, right? Like, is that that's the plan?
That is the plan. The plan is for us is we are now, I think this is episode number 75, by the way.
Dang, look at us.
I think it's the 74th or 75th episode of the podcast. So we've been going strong pretty long. So we need to take a little bit of a hiatus to kind of retool some stuff. We love this format. We love spending time with you guys online, answering questions, all that kind of stuff. But we want to make it a little bit more educational, if that would make sense. And we're going to explore some different formats, do some stuff. And as we both have, Katie's got major life change going on. She is, as you know, she's becoming a college professor. She's moving. So we thought this would be a great time just to wind down just for a little bit. And plus we've asked some other stuff that we're working on that we can't talk about as well. And that's taking up a lot of our time.
But we will talk about it. We'll come back Facebook Live and we will talk about it to you. Just something we want to tease you with. We have a big thing that's going to drop very soon. And we hope that you will like it.
We hope you will, because we're going to put a lot of effort into it. So anyway, but that's coming up. So there we go. So we got a lot of that coming up. So anyway, again, I think I speak for Katie and I both when we say thank you for watching. If you are listening online, go ahead and subscribe because we are coming back. We're going to be on there. So if you're listening on iTunes, hit the subscribe button. If you're watching on Facebook, if you could like it or share it. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit that big red subscribe button as well. We really appreciate it. And we will be coming back. We're also going to be in lieu of to tie you over, I'm going to start doing a semi-weekly video series called Deleted Posts. And these are posts that have been submitted to the group that never made it inside the group.
And why?
And I'm going to be answering people's questions of things that they asked of the group.
Yeah, so don't go submitting a bunch of stupid stuff just because you want it to be in Daryl's
So I'm going to record that. In fact, I might tonight. I might record as soon as we get this. I may record the first episode and upload it. So it's going to be called. I think we may call it Rejected Post is what we're going to call it. So these are going to be things that you guys have asked that were not communications related, but I am super pumped to do this. So we're excited. So
we're going to put it all under baptismtroughs.com.
Yes, we are. The whole thing. All right, guys, you guys have a good night. We will talk to you soon. We'll see you on the group as always. Until then, take care.
Bye.